Cats and Kittens, whatever Jose, Yorushko. I'm back in the Crisis Corner with a Crisis Corner commentary. This is an update on my. It's been a year since I did my commentary on the Fantastic Four movie back when we didn't have a lot of information on what we were to expect. And my point of view at that point was that the Fantastic Four movie slash franchise was probably doomed. I have to amend that statement. The Fantastic Four movie slash franchise is definitely doomed. Now that we've seen more um, information and what's going on, I just finished watching film threat video on some of the behind the scenes info. I'll put a link to it because I like film threat. I love what those guys do. I'm just baffled. This is more of a rant than anything else because I do not understand why they have such a hard time putting over this IP. Fantastic Four is one of the easiest IPs to put over on the face of the planet, but I believe that the problem that they're having with it right now is that they're trying to shoehorn it into the dying MCU. If in turn you were to do a hard reboot, not patchwork, none of this trying to fit stuff together with, a soft reboot with this whole Doom War, whatever it is thing they're trying to do. If you just do a hard reboot and say, we're starting the whole thing over from ground zero, Fantastic Four is the perfect IP for a hard reboot because of what it does. Now, going back to the comic, what was the purpose, or what did the Fantastic Four bring to the Marvel comic universe? World building, exploration. That is what it did. All of these IP, all of these concepts that you're seeing running around the MCU now, the Skrulls, the Kree, they're bringing in Doctor Doom, Galactus, Wakanda, all of that stuff. Where did it start? The Fantastic Four. Namor got his second birth, basically. Fantastic Four, that brings in Atlantis. All of that stuff was funneled in through the Fantastic Four. The purpose of the group was they were explorers. Reed Richards was a genius, and he was out finding things, looking for things. And that brought it into the MCU, and then you could send it off to the Avengers or whatever and have, all of these different, concepts interact with different uh, segments of the Marvel Universe, the Watchers, Adam Warlock, all of that stuff came through the Fantastic Four. So if you were going to do a hard reboot and say we're starting the whole thing over from scratch, dude, it's not hard. They're so busy trying to deconstruct that they don't see what's right in front of them. And it's frustrating. You could work in the Fantastic Four alongside the X-Men, who you can bring in a hard reboot because you're resetting from the Fox stuff. You could just throw all of that out of the window. Don't try to. They're doing all of this Doom War, whatever they call it, and bringing in the old X-Men people, and they're gonna try to fuse them together and then do a soft reset. I'm telling you, that's trash and it's a waste of time. Just do a hard reboot, Fantastic Four, X-Men. You can bring them up together because they haven't touched each other yet. You just got basically two things going on at the same time, and then if you want to bring them together, fine, whatever. Just work on them as separate IPs. Yeah, they exist in the same universe, but you don't have to bring them together right now. Just let them operate in their own zones and then build towards some type of thing or whatever you want to do. But they're so stuck on that formula that worked for them once in phases 1 through 3 that they don't know what else to do. It's just that. So the Fantastic Four is doomed. The best chance that they had of making a successful go at it was the Tim Story stuff. The first one wasn't that bad. It was okay. Oddly enough, it's a basically what you would expect of the current MCU. A meh movie which touches on the concept lightly but doesn't really follow through and ultimately is kind of forgettable. It wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible. There were nice performances, and like I said, it wanted to kind of be high concept, but it wasn't high concept enough. It wanted to be sci-fi, but it wasn't sci-fi enough. So it just wound up being a kids movie with none of the impact that it should have had. You're talking about a concept that's basically merging Doctor Who. Say if Doctor Who had a family, if he had a wife, a best friend, and a brother-in-law, but all of them had powers, and they went out exploring timelines and different civilizations and helping people and doing all kind of cool stuff and bringing all of these concepts like a nihilist and Blastar to the attention of the reader or the watcher, for their consumption. How can that not work? With a competent writer, how could that not work? We already seen The Incredibles work. And that wasn't even a fraction of what the Fantastic Four is. That was just a family of heroes doing hero stuff. We're talking about a family of explorer heroes. And Hollywood just can't get it right. They try Fantastic, which was asinine. They try. Um, I'm not even mad at the Roger Corman stuff. Actually, I heard that was kind of low key decent, but whatever. It just was like cheap because it was supposed to be cheap. But anyway, my whole thing is this: the the tragedy of the Fantastic Four is that it is an A-list concept that never had a chance because the people working on it do not know what to do with it. They just don't. It's been borne out from the movies. They do not understand what to do with it. They barely know what to do with it. Tim Story had an inkling, but he didn't go far enough. You know, this what they're doing now with Pedro Pascal. First of all, you will never convince me that he's Reed Richards, and I'm putting aside all of that nonsense that he's doing off the camera. I'm not interested in his politics or his whatever. That's on him. I'm telling you, that man is not Reed Richards. He never will be. Now, that's a preconceived notion, and I'm sorry, but that's just my bias. Everybody else in the cast, I'm not. I got no issues with. But this whole thing about doing the retro stuff in the '60s just makes me believe that they don't think that IP can work in a modern setting. They think that it belongs in the '60s, and they're gonna rocket it into the present day and deconstruct it. And it's going to become gloomy and dour, just like all the other stuff that they like to put out nowadays. When it's supposed to be energizing and hopeful and just interesting. I mean, forget about innocent. I'm talking about just interesting. It's supposed to be high edge weirdness and sci-fi and stuff like that. But they won't. Super Scroll, what they do, they destroyed that. They destroyed the scrolls, they destroyed the creed, they destroyed every concept that you would have gotten from the Fantastic Four has been burned on the altar of mediocrity and it's dead. So now they're going to try to revive the MCU, so to speak, with Doom or I forget what they keep calling this thing, Doom, whatever it is. Carrying the Conqueror, dead. Where did they come from? Where did he come from? Fantastic Four. Oh, and it's breaking my heart because, like I said, Intrepid, the book that I write, is modeled on the Fantastic Four. The reason that I read comics. Now I'm into manga more so than anything else because the American comics are kind of like, if it ain't independent, shout out to my man Frankie B. I don't care. I mean, I don't read Spider Man no more. I'm done with it. It's over. I don't read Fantastic Four no more. I haven't read Fantastic Four legitimately in a long time. X Men. I tried the X of what they call it, X of Pox of X. Anyway, that X Men stuff that that they tried a few years ago with Professor X and they're living on the island and all of that stuff. I gave it a shot, man. But what happened? Eventually, it devolved into nonsense. That's all you have to look forward to. So now, like I say, to bring this rant to a close, this if this movie is good, I will be happy. I do not think it will be in the way that it needs to be because it's not just about this movie; it's about the next one. To be honest with you, the Fantastic Four would be a fantastic TV series. I mean, you only have to do like maybe 12 episodes, like they're doing with, the MCU stuff on Marvel Plus or whatever you want, Disney Plus, Marvel Plus, whatever. 8 to 12 episodes a season would be fine. It'd be like Lost in Space for Netflix, which I thought was great, but maybe maybe that's just me. But you could run it off as a series, and they're constantly exploring stuff, and then you can take the stuff that they explore and put it into the movies and stuff like that. Kind of like what they were doing with Agents of Shield, to be honest with you. But whatever, that was more successful than anything that they're doing on Disney Plus. But I'm digressing. Anyway, my point is, Fantastic Four is doomed. It is doomed. It's just there's no way that I can see this working beyond whatever it is that movie First Steps is supposed to be. It's just doomed, and you just have to live with it. I mean, you just have to live with the startling realization that the comic book concept series IP that you love with all of your heart has been massacred like Sonny Corleone is been massacred by hacks and nonsense, and it's not going to work. It might have to do a 5 to 10 year cool down before you can get it to work. I could be wrong, but I sincerely doubt it. Let me know what you think. I'm gonna probably revisit this once I get my thoughts together for real, but I am saddened. But I'll be in the theaters to watch it in July, I guess. Uh, but yeah, this is new. Let me know what you think. Until next time, stay loose.